challenges in digital transformation.
Yeah.
You've got challenges in terms of personalized sort of learning. Yeah, because again, that's a big challenge. We've got transformation taking place in many organizations in the society as a whole.
Importantly.
Yeah, massive stuff here. Every week you're sitting there with your team and you're doing sort of inward stuff and you're doing conversations as well. And you're talking about rocks, obstacles, you're talking about challenges. Yeah. So let's talk about society as a whole. Yeah. Let's open it up a little bit, macro thinking. And then we'll come back. I'll try again. I'll try again. So let's go a little bit further forward. So let's talk about challenges in digital, challenges in terms of the workplace.
Yeah.
No question, but just your thoughts.
Right. So I'm going to start with workplaces in general, then think about how we have to think as an educational organisation in response to all of that. So workplaces in general, and everybody's talking about AI.
Yeah.
And what happens in the tech sector is there'll be a flavour of the month thing, something exciting that's happening, and everybody's talking about it. And there are natural consequences of that. What's really probably more exciting in practical terms is the notion of automation. And then obviously we've got data and the power of using data for any kind of... So we've got two types of client. So number one are people who work in sector, and they're most of our client base are they're people who are working in sector and they're learning around latest innovations in the field. But we also have the type of client who are not from the tech and digital sector but are excited about tech and digital in their workforce. And so I have to speak about the two different client types a little bit differently. So obviously the from sector employers are trying to be in touch with the latest cutting edge knowledge. So, and this is an important point here as well. I think a lot of competitor training providers make the mistake of curating the content that the learners cover on their own terms. What we do is we attend to the standard, but the curation, and by curating content, what I mean is sometimes you select, sometimes you reject, sometimes you adapt, sometimes you supplement, and sometimes you create. So you go through this process of curating the content, which are those 5 different processes, which is in response to what the employer needs to achieve in their workplace context. And so the fun of the education is looking at what that employer is trying to get done at work using the technologies, and the art of it is making that relate to the standard. What the other providers do that's a mistake is they take the knowledge, the skill, or the behaviour, and they create the program of what they think it's important for the employers to know. What we do is we take the knowledge, skills, and the behaviours, and we do have this is the required minimum set. I'm not saying we don't, but the excitement for us is how we're going to make that come true in an evidence-based e-portfolio of thinking around this and then applying this theory in the practice and reflecting on the success of that. So in all of these the big areas of data and tech and cyber and software engineering, which no-code software is more exciting now, DevOps is exciting now as well, and these big notional areas that people are working in are done in very different ways in every different employer organisation. So what we want to do is we have a curriculum intent. It's very clear. There's a learning plan. There's the endpoint assessment, which is all prepared for, but that learning plan is tailored to that employer organisation with that particular learner. So that's kind of the approach really that we're doing to make, and I'm talking there about the tech companies themselves, but the same process is effectively happening with the non-tech companies. The difference with the non-tech companies is we're very bold and transparent about the fact that we're not consultants, we're coaches. So we recommend that when they need a particular expertise area, we actually recommend consultants we know from our other client base and say, actually, you need to bring in them for their expertise on this. But a lot of employer organisations come to me, Saf, and say, "Why do we want to, to learn these skills when I can just bring consultants in?" And my response to that is always, if you're bringing in consultants, you definitely need to learn these skills, because you need to be able to manage your consultants to make sure they deliver against your own strategic priorities. So the idea of bringing in consultants without having somebody who's a digital and technology solutions professional in your organisation, or somebody who can do technical support in your organisation, is a weird concept. And you need to bring in the coaches. So, as I say, basically, it's the same approach with them, but we acknowledge that bringing in consultants is a healthy part of that process.
Canny Conversation Podcast Series 5 by Safaraz Ali.